Well, I was madly writing down this quote that I wanted to share with you today. I've been collecting quotes on attention, and I saw this one coming by the great Mary Oliver that I wanted to read to you, and then I have some things to share about that. So she says, "This is the first, the wildest, and the wisest thing I know, that the soul exists and is built entirely out of attentiveness." Isn't that just ah? So what I was getting from that is
Can you say it once more, please?
I would thank you. I was going to say I'm going to say it once more. So thank you. so so what I want to invite you to do is just let yourself take this in, let your body respond to it. However, this is the first, the wildest, and the wisest thing I know, that the soul exists and is built entirely out of attentiveness. Mm. And it fostered all of it's like a fountain of all kinds of ideas. One of which is that we look at the world the way we are looked at. We learned to attend from the way we are attended to. And attentiveness, I just love the whole, attentive. When I try that on, it is a close, I'm giving my close awareness. I'm letting my focus surround and be with. And I'm Andrea, you're being attentive in just the way that we were just talking about, the way that you're attending to your pet. That's exactly what we're up to. So thank you for bringing that kind of mutuality. So what I was getting is that attentiveness is being received. So we usually think of attention is that I'm putting it out. And what if your attentiveness were your willingness to be fully received? And I was thinking about the attention of different kinds of people in my life, and that there are some kinds of attention that make me bloom, where I feel totally safe, that I can expand into, I can show myself, and that their attention actually allows me to expand my experience of me. So, what I'm getting from our practice is really a weaving of giving attention, but also being willing to receive. That if I'm attending, I'm opening my attention. So that means that it's also going to be coming back to me. And that mutuality is, I think, part of what we're building. And I wanted to invite you to think of someone in your life. It could be current or it could have been from a long time ago, someone in your life whose attention you feel this kind of blooming, an expansion, a spaciousness inside you, a relaxation of your breath, but also a kind of blooming of, oh, I'm important. I have value. That when someone looks at you, even if it's somebody you're, maybe even not your family, and maybe especially not your family, someone looks at you and you have a sense of, oh, I think that, what are they seeing? There's this way they're looking at me that I'm going, oh, what are they looking at? And it makes me open up to more of my own essence. And so I'd love you to think of somebody who has looked at you that way. And I'd like you to just open up to, what is that kind of attention? And how could I just be looking out at your other compatriots are here on our call, of when you look at others that way, what happens to you? because we think of our attention just going out or coming in. But my sense is that it's like the backwash of a water ocean that's coming in, that it's going both directions. There's a wave that comes in, but there's a wave that comes back to you as well. And what I wanted to have you play with is letting yourself try on what happens to create that kind of attention. So for me, what I realize is that my face relaxes and my eyes get, you know how sometimes when you, like if you're looking at somebody's new baby and you have that kind of, you're taking them in with this multiple appreciation, but also a welcoming, and a sense of, isn't this a miracle? What if all of our looking was like that? Isn't this a miracle? And so I want to invite you to look at others the way that you were looked at, that allowed you to feel more and more of your essence. And looking out at the world around you, but then also attending, because my sense is attending is so much more than looking. And that's what I want to have you be discovering. So when you're attending to you, what happens when you give that rich attention to yourself? So for me, I start getting little ripples of energy, and and my body wants to do some light wiggling. And I also feel myself kind of expanding and getting taller. With a sense of, it's okay for me to receive all that loving attention, and then letting that go out into the world. Noticing, like I'm noticing, we have a little metal chicken in the front yard that has a spinning tail when there's wind, and so I'm just looking out, and I can see he's kind of strutting this morning. And so I'm sort of trying on that strutting myself. So letting your attention, your attentiveness, move in different directions, and noticing that it's, you are moving it out, but it's also coming back to you. And when you're moving it in you, it's moving all around. And letting that sense of attentiveness, noticing if there are times in your life that brings up, if there are qualities that it brings up for you, qualities that you like, or qualities that you've been missing that you would like to have. Like if you could make a wish for this holiday time, I would like it to be something like the quality of attentiveness that you're willing to gift yourself and others with. And there's Thanksgiving is an opportunity, which I really practice every day. The giving of thanks with my attention. And my sense is that's also part of what Mary Oliver is speaking to, is you're building your essence, what she calls soul, from the quality of your attentiveness. And I know there have been people in my past who have given me a kind of attention which has opened more dimensions in me than I thought I had. Who is, have someone who recognized, like my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Morgan, makes me cry, who recognized that I needed to move. And so, I went overnight from being a C student to, the world opened up to me from being able to move. And so that kind of attentiveness that opens the world for you, would you be willing to be the source of that for not just you, but for others in your life? And I was just thinking about, there's a fellow at the grocery store who's playing guitar out in front. And so, I was in there and I had seen him a couple of times. And when I came out, I just had this sense of I wanted to just really give him a big gift. And so I gave him sort of a large bill. And just out of wanting to support him and appreciate him. And then he was, I could tell it just made a huge difference for him, but it came from my attentiveness to him. And then I found out, I was saying, "What's your name?" And he said, "My name's Billy." And my older brother, who is no longer with us, his name is William, but Billy, and as a kid, I called him Billy. And so we had this, a deeper connection, which I could feel had something to do with my brother and something to do with, opening to having new connections with men. And this was just a guy at the grocery store. So we can have these kinds of interactions that acknowledges the uniqueness, the specialness, the contributions that everybody around us that we can make to each other. And so I also want to invite you with your imagine that kind of love and attentiveness surrounding you so that you are love scooping some of that in to wherever in you is calling for it, wherever in you, and even if you can't reach it, like if it's, in the top middle of your back and you haven't been practicing your yoga for a while, but you can let your intention land it back there. And notice how that refreshes your ability to send your attention out and to send your attention in toward you. So letting yourself take some love scoops and swirling all of that lovely attentiveness around you and giving it to yourself anywhere. Mm. And I want to invite you over, particularly over this next week where we're, focused on Thanksgiving, of letting yourself expand your appreciation of attentiveness. Because attentiveness could, for me, my attentiveness has allowed me to notice where something is arising for the other, like a feeling that that they may just be awakening to, but I can see, feel it, and my attentiveness allows that to bloom in them so that they can have a rich experience of all of what's arising for them rather than just the good stuff or the bad stuff. It's just what is arising, that it's all can be enriched by our attentiveness. So let yourself notice, is there more shifting of your attentiveness that you'd like to do, or is there more love scooping of your attentiveness? It's interesting, right? I can tell that I'm wanting to touch my cheeks, and I feel like it's a difference between a smile but also unlocking all of the times where I had something arising that I wanted to express, but there was no space for it. And so I could feel the little lockdown in my jaw of, got to be, got to be normal, got to, not, yeah. And so I'm going to take a moment and just feel how, if there's any attentiveness locked up in any part of your body, let your body assist you in just unlocking that, maybe with sounds, maybe with some weird movements. I was realizing as a kid, I actually was sort of a smartass. But girls weren't supposed to be that way. Guys could be that way, but so I was supposed to be nice. So I can feel, my sharpness and my wittiness got suppressed as a kid. And it was only after a few years of being, with gay, and someone turned to me and they said, you're really funny. You're really, like like they like they had just discovered it. But I think also I had just discovered this and rediscovered So we can be a source, our attentiveness can be an ongoing source of discovery for us and for others. And so I want to just invite you to spread out into the reality of what Mary Oliver was talking about, is that we're building our essence. We're not just discovering, but we're building our essence, our soul, by the quality of our attentiveness. And so to assist us with that, let me just see what our Presence Connect play has for us. Oh, and before I do that, Michelle and I were just talking about the holidays and how the holidays are landing this year, and that both Christmas and New Year are on a Monday. We were talking about, well, shall we do our loops and scoops? And my inclination is, God willing, and the seas don't rise, that we're going to go ahead and do it on. Yeah, because what better way to celebrate than, to be with community and to be looping and scooping. So let me come back now to my Presence Connect play. So presence is about essence pace, and using essence pace to be aware of you and aware of the other. So for any of you who don't know what essence pace is, it's basically moving through the world at a pace that allows you to give attention to you and to give attention to the world and to others at the same pace. And for some of you, it might be one pace, and for others, it might be a range. And on the foundation website, Foundation for Conscious Living website, there are videos on essence pace, which I highly recommend, because people have said that essence pace has made the biggest difference in their just moving through their lives, making choices. Your pace has everything to do with how you make decisions and choices. And this is a time of year where a lot of that sort of comes at us very quickly. So I think essence pace also allows me to take life at a pace that I can actually be present to, rather than rushing around. This is often a rushing around time of year. And I just so support you letting essence pace move you, because it's so much more effective than rushing. It's so much more effective than adrenaline. And also, you get to enjoy the journey. So it's not about the going, doing, it's about the journey. And that's what essence pacing can give you. And connect is listen appreciatively. So we can also, I think, just even substitute listen attentively. Like when I'm listening attentively, I'm listening for the nuances and for what's emerging and what's happening in me as I'm listening. And it makes listening so rich for whoever is in the dialogue, or whoever is in the room when the listening is happening. Oh, and play. Play is do the opposite. So one great way of initiating play is to do the opposite of what you're doing. So you can just try that on right now. So notice, what are you doing? What's the quality of what you're doing right now? It could be is stillness, or it could be, that one part of you is moving. And what would be the opposite of what you're doing right now? And just take a moment to try that on. You don't even have to have a right answer, but just to play with, what's the opposite of what I'm doing right now? And then to shift into the quality of what you were doing, and then to do the opposite, and then look what happens. Play, which to me is really sort of the tossing of possibilities just for the fun of it. The tossing of different possibilities and different points of view and turning things upside down. I was reminded of, back when I was first getting started in dance therapy, I saw a book, the title of which made me get the book, which is Put Your Mother on the Ceiling. And it was a book about imagination. And so that's, the essence of play is put your mother on the ceiling. So, and some of you may literally want to put your mother on the ceiling, but that's a whole other subject. So the quality of curiosity and play opens up so much to um, to allow us to just keep expanding our weaving of aliveness with each other. And to me, that's what it's all about. So um, I I want to see. I've got a little message here from. Okay, okay. Very good. All right. So I'm going to take my leave now and look forward to seeing you next time. And please, you're so welcome to stay and converse and, share big talk with each other. And thank you for the gift of your presence.